Emmanuelle Emman, ATIENZA'S passing arrived like a sudden hush over feeds, schoolyards, and family group chats. A quiet that made people reopen old videos, reread captions, and hold one another a little tighter. The ATIENZA family confirmed the unexpected news on October 22, 2025, saying their daughter brought so much joy, laughter, and love into our lives, and asking for privacy as they navigated their grief. Public and private lives collided in that moment. A bright young creator taken from a world that already felt too small for her energy, and a family whose grief had to be both mourned at home and managed in public statements and memorial arrangements. Emman's online presence was deceptively simple. Short, candid clips where she spoke plainly about body image, mental health, and the awkward business of becoming yourself in public view. She called out the pressure she felt, openly discussed therapy and rest, and used gentle humor to lower the temperature of difficult conversations. That authenticity drew a loyal following and made her a recognizable figure among Gen Z Filipinos, young people who found in her a rare mix of relatability and frankness. Her content worked as a kind of virtual check-in. Viewers would open her videos and feel less alone for the 15 seconds she occupied their screen. Professionally, Emman was signed with Sparkle GMA Artist Center under the status by Sparkle Digital Arm, which issued a statement mourning her passing and offering condolences to the family, calling her a cherished member of their community. Industry friends described her as a ball of sunshine, a phrase that circulated widely after the announcement as a shorthand for the warmth people remembered from her clips and in-person meetings. Within entertainment circles, she was both promise and practice, a young talent beginning to translate platform presence into industry opportunity, while still learning the rhythms and risks of public life. Her lifestyle and public persona reflected a blend of youthful curiosity and intentionality. Emman's posts mixed thrifted fashion, casual streetwear, study and college snapshots, and candid reflections about self-work and boundaries. Offline, friends remembered spontaneous road trips, long brunches that turned into idea sessions, and a social life built around close creator peers rather than glossy influencer circuits. She prioritized therapy, rest cycles, and small daily practices meant to sustain mental health, often speaking about these choices in ways that made them feel accessible rather than prescriptive. Romantically, Emman's life was modestly private. She did not cultivate a public relationship narrative or constant partner content. Instead, she foregrounded friendships, family connections, and the inward labor of healing. When she referenced romance, it was typically as a lens for growth, notes on boundaries, vulnerability, and how relationships reflect and shape your sense of self, rather than an itemized public diary. That choice made her relatable to many young followers who navigated similarly private ambivalence about dating and public exposure. The circumstances of her death, as reported in public records and early news dispatches, included mention of ligature hanging in Los Angeles. Local reporting surfaced that detail, even as the family's public statements focused on remembrance and compassion rather than mechanics. This contrast between clinical detail and family emphasis on memory quickly became part of the public conversation, with advocates and peers urging nuance, to hold factual clarity alongside tenderness, and to avoid sensationalism while still addressing the urgent mental health questions her passing raised. The immediate public response was broad and swift. Fans, colleagues, and civic figures poured messages of condolence across social platforms. Fellow creators organized vigils, compilations, and memorial streams, and mental health professionals and advocates used the moment to amplify resources and conversations about the unseen pressures faced by young creators. The ATIENZA family's posts, brief, dignified, and oriented toward compassion, asked followers to remember Emman's warmth and her advocacy for kindness rather than to linger on the mechanics of her death. In the weeks after the announcement, Emman's content took on new status as cultural artifacts. Clips once scrolled past were revisited and curated into playlists, compilations, and tribute montages that sought to preserve the cadence of her voice and the exact wording of the lines that comforted so many. Fans organized listening events, live stream remembrances, and charity drives aimed at mental health causes, converting grief into collective action and small, ongoing commitments rather than momentary outrage. Her agency and peers emphasized verified channels for contributions and memorial activities, trying to ensure that public mourning supported the family and honored Emman's values without becoming exploitative. Conversations sparked by her death were not only about individual care, but about structural protections for creators. People asked how platforms could do better at supporting young users, how talent agencies might provide more robust mental health support, and how audiences should respond when a creator posts signs of distress. Emman's passing turned these questions from abstract policy debates into immediate moral work, with petitions, open letters, and community organizers pushing for practical changes that might make a difference for the next generation of creators. For Kim and Felicia Atienza, grief was both a public ledger and a private collapse. To manage memorial announcements, agency statements, legal necessities, and communal outreach while also trying to hold a family torn open by loss. Their public posture, as many noted, was one of restrained dignity, thankfulness for support, insistence on privacy for the household, and a repeated request that Emman be remembered for her compassion and advocacy rather than the circumstances of her death. Emman's legacy, painful and complicated as it is already taking shape along two tracks. First, as a repository of short, honest artifacts that continue to comfort and instruct a generation navigating mental health in public. Second, as an agitator for better systems and more humane digital cultures. Those who loved her asked that her work be remembered not as raw content, but as invitations to practice care, to check in with friends, to demand better support for young people online, and to treat creators as whole people rather than endless streams of consumable vulnerability. In the narrow span of 19 years, Emman modeled a style of openness that made people feel less alone. In her absence, that model becomes a charge. The ask is simple and mortal. Listen closer, act sooner, be kinder. If anything can be salvaged from such sudden loss, it is the hope that attention will turn into prevention rather than mere remembrance, that grief will be channeled into sustained action, and that Emman's brief, bright public life will keep teaching about care, dignity, and the work of being human in full view. Emman Atienza's life and openness about mental health remind us to listen more closely, support young creators with compassion, and honor her memory by turning grief into care. If this moved you, share a kind memory in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more thoughtful tributes.